The situation at Spurs is oh so wrong. It's all part of Phoenix and Levy's gone. A world-class stadium, second-rate team. Spurs are winning nothing under this regime. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, it's what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. A lack of proper investment is what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Project Youth, just another Levy feast. Dismantling Spurs history piece by piece. The stadium just an entertainment hub. No true fan wanted this for our club. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Legendary Bill Nick would turn in his grave if he knew how the owners now behave. Corporate greed and no success. We need to work together to get our club out of this mess. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be on a Monday night. As you can tell, I'm not here 100% energy levels. Listen, I'm going to do my best. I haven't been well the last couple of days, so we'll see. We'll see. I must support Arsenal. I must be sick. I must be ill. I wonder what's happened to Arsenal to make them all sick. But I think I've got the Arsenal disease. But smash a like, subscribe. Hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Thanks for being here as always, everyone. We wish you well as always. Iggy, Lee, how you doing, chaps? You good? You're gonna have to help me carry this show tonight, man, because I'm struggling.
So Spurs win, Arsenal lose, and you're ill.
Doesn't get much better than that, does it, Iggy?
I mean, talk about a hat trick. I mean, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Obviously, I know how you are. How are you, Lee? Okay, everyone in the chat, good. I hope everyone's well. You watching or commenting in the chat. I hope everyone's good. It's Monday night, man. North London's been a strange day. It's been like rain mixed with sun, and it's just been up and down weather-wise. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, spring is only around the corner now, so we'll start getting better weather in the UK as well.
Lee, you all good, bro?
Yes, fine, mate. Isn't it funny how it's gone very, very quiet? 3 wins. Everything's gone very, very quiet. Just like I said it would.
Let's not get carried away now, man. Let's not
The
get
voice.
carried away.
The voice.
Don't do that, Lee. Don't
So
do that.
we beat Brentford, which was a surprise. But we beat the worst Man United team in 30 years, and we beat a team that's getting relegated. Is it time to get excited, or have we been here before? Is this?
I've seen it too many times.
Where we get reeled in. And...
I'm not going to get overexcited. I'm glad that we got the 3 points. I'm glad we got 3 wins on the trot. I really am. I'm glad we've got people coming back. I'm too. If the expectations go too high, then it's all going to go crumbling down. So I'm just taking it game by game. See how we're getting on. You know, Man City next at home. It's going to be a lot tougher than Ipswich.
Mm.
We'll see how it goes. Just enjoy the ride.
I mean, Man City are not having a great time themselves, so that was good time. Is it good
Do you
time
know
to be
what?
patient?
We'll get on to Man City because I don't think they played badly yesterday, Man City, by the way. I don't think they played badly. But we'll discuss it because I know everyone's got their views on this one. What I will say is we often have some regulars in the chat by the name of Vindaloo, Mr. Post Office, Mr. Postman, whatever he's called, and a couple other of Arsenal fans. And I've noticed tonight they're not here. And usually they're here to banter us, tell us that they're going to win the league. Arteta's, was he phase 5, phase 6,
Where the
800 million?
gooners at tonight, man? I'm not
You know,
seeing anyone in the chat either. The good,
was it
normally
trust the
seeing everyone.
process? This is the year that City drop away. We're in the prime position to pounce. Stefan, telling us for the last 2 months, you wait when Liverpool drop off. They always drop off in March, April. I mean, you know, all I saw was this guy giving it the large, taking the piss out of Haaland when they beat Man City. And then yesterday outside the Emirates, I mean, West Ham fans, what's this? West Ham fans doing the celebration in the mud. Stay humble, Arsenal. Stay humble. Humble like pie. Humble pie. Look, we can't really cuss them because we're shit, but we can still cuss. They're our rivals, right? We are allowed to cuss Arsenal, aren't we?
We're taking a piss. At the end of the day, that's all it is. It's part and parcel of football, man. We're too easy target now to be taking the mick out of. So whenever the opportunity arises to take the liberties out of someone else, why the hell not? Why the hell not?
Big up everyone in the chat. Thanks for being here. We'll bring up Arsenal a bit later on because we are going to talk a little bit about Liverpool, the Man City game, because we are playing Man City next. But there's only one place to begin, and that was Saturday's game. I did do a tactical post-match analysis show earlier on big up. So I'll go over a little bit again with the guys. But starting lineup against Ipswich, we saw Vicario in goal, Spence and Udogie as the wing backs with Porro on the bench, Archie Gray at centre back with Danzo. I don't know if Davies picked up an injury or whatnot, but Gray was back in centre back.
Yeah, he did. He's going to be out for.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be out for a few weeks.
Yeah, another one injured. No surprises. And then in the midfield, it was Bergvall, Bentancur, I guess pivoting in the 6 and the 8. Kulu went into the 10. Johnson out wide. Mateus Tell in the middle as striker. And Heung-min Son left wing. Guys, before the game, I questioned whether we should have started with Son because his performances haven't been good. And he had a very, very good first half. What do you make of Son at the moment? Because part of me thinks, do you know what? He's still got it. There's still something there. But the other half of me says, Ipswich defensively were diabolical. Like they were one of the worst defensive teams I've seen us play this season. And I'll break it down later why I say this, but they were shocking. But can you take anything away? Can you really take anything away from Son, or has he got to do it against Man City for us to say, yeah, Sonny's back?
I think it helped. I certainly think from some perspective and the age that he's at now, having these week-long rests is certainly helping him to regenerate energy before the next match. And I think that certainly helps. I think nowadays he's probably got a good 45 minutes in him. Probably can't do it for the full 90 minutes. And as you say, some people, have been making sensational. He was like back to his best and stuff like that. But I'm like you. I looked at it and thought their defending was awful. So it was easier for him than, as you say, going up against a Man City or an Arsenal or something like that. So I think it was a bit of both. I think he just, he had a couple of good moments in the first half. Do I think he's back to his ways? No, not at all. Not at all. Everyone can have one good game every now and again and be shit for the rest of it. So, but anyway, well, as you say, we'll see. If he starts against Man City and does it again, then fair enough. maybe those rests. That's what he needed. He can't do it, twice a week anymore. But he hasn't got that luxury this week because it's only going to be 4 days before the next match. So we'll see what happens.
Are we playing them Thursday? When?
Yeah, we got Europa
Wednesday,
first,
isn't it?
haven't we?
Midweek,
we got
Wednesday, I think.
Thursday night.
Was it Thursday night?
Yeah, we're playing this Thursday.
We played Man City, aren't we?
Yeah, Man City's the next game.
Yeah, Man City on Thursday.
Jiu-jitsu on Thursday as well. Damn it.
Yeah. So,
what do you think of Sonny, Iggy? Do you think he's finding his old form back, or do you think, come on, it's only Ipswich?
Well, there's a bit of both in it. At the end of the day, it's Sonny. Listen, he's not been the Sonny that we know. But there's been he started off the season already not 100%, like injuries and stuff like that. So he's showing glimpses. He has moments, But you take into the consideration the opposition. You're right. I'm not sure what they were doing, especially for the first 2 goals with their fullbacks really high up. Defensive, like you said, they were back 4 were all over the place. But at the end of the day, man, the boy, Sonny got 2 assists and he set both Johnson's goals up. So you have to just give him the credit. Like I said, when we criticize, but also when they do something right, we have to acknowledge that as well. So I think he's nowhere near his best. The Sonny that we know, whether he'll hit those heights again that we're used to, I don't know. But then again, I also feel you look at this season and how we have been as a team. It's very hard for when you look at players like Sonny and thinking, well, how can we expect him to be firing the Sonny that we know when a team around him has been bang average all season? If you had a team that were, going full, going playing to the maximum level, and you had a player like Sonny not playing to the level, then you could turn around and say, well, look, man, the team's playing really well, but he's not. But how do you judge Sonny and how he's performing when the team around him has been so poor as well? So
Iggy, do you?
He's the fruit of the. Sorry, go on.
I'm just going to say, no, just on that point though, when, for instance, Solanke comes back, right, and I'm led to believe that Tell's preferred position is on the left, from what I understand. I might be wrong with that, but that's what I understand it to be. It might just be banter on social media or whatever that I've heard. If Solanke is our out striker, right, so he starts up front, what do you do with Son? Do you think he's indestructible as a starting player because he's captain, or would you put someone younger, fresher in there, 19 years old, in the likes of Tell, and put him on the bench?
To be honest with you, listen, I'm still trying to figure out what Tell is all about. I know the guys in the chat, I can see already saying he's crap and all of that stuff. He didn't have his finest games against Ipswich. That's
I don't think he's had any good games so far.
He hasn't.
I think he's been very lackluster. Apart from the goal.
Again, he's playing. He's come into a team that's been struggling. What I'm trying to say is, for any player,
guys, he's not a striker. I said, he's not a striker.
He's a wide player. He's a wide player. I don't see him as a number.
Iggy, I said on our Tottenham YouTube page, I said Matthias Tell is nothing special. For me, he's not a striker. He's not a number 9 the way we're playing him. And if you look at the comments, it's just a barrage of criticism for what I said. And everyone's saying, he's not crap, give him a chance. Why have you written him off? And I'm replying to each person saying, I never said he's crap. I never said I'm writing him off. You're not reading things. You're getting emotional. You're doing it again. Every time we sign a player, you put them up here rather than just letting it play out. All I said was he's not a striker. I can see the way he moves, the way he touches the ball. He's not a striker. That's my opinion.
He looks like he's a wide player.
I think he's he's an inside. Yeah, I think he's a wide inside forward. He's not a striker.
Even then, it doesn't look like he's. From what I've seen, guys, and I'm still holding back because I want to see him a little bit. He doesn't strike me as someone who has blistering pace for a wide player.
Well, that's funny, Iggy, because that's one of his own
Yeah,
admissions. Is I'm quick if you watch
but
his
I
interview when he
haven't.
came to the club, I haven't seen it.
I've not
I
seen it,
haven't.
so that's why I'm waiting to see a little bit more. Listen. I'm trying to give the boy a chance. He's come into a team not long ago. He hasn't played a hell of a lot of matches under us. We've been struggling. I mean, I know people using other words. I remember said bang average. Other people saying we've been shit, which is probably closer to the truth, to be honest with you. So it's really hard for a new player that comes in already in a struggling team that's not really firing all cylinders, and him to making a positive impact. If he does, brilliant. Don't get me wrong, but it's difficult to do. It's the same sort of conversation you have about Son. We always expect more from Son, players like Son, because of what we've been used to over the years. But then it's not fair because, like, by putting it all on those players, you're kind of letting others getting away with it. So it's a team effort. So for me, regarding Tell, I want to see him a little bit more. But we've seen.
I think Lee makes a good point though. We've got Odebert back. We've got Mateus Tell, who could potentially play left side. We've got Mikey Moore. We've got options.
We're starting now. Only now we're starting to have options. But I think moving forwards, Lee, to answer your question about Son.
But what Lee was saying, what happens when Solanke comes back? So in 4 or 5 days' time.
For me, we can start managing the minutes, particularly Son. We start managing the minutes that he plays. We'll be able to manage him a little bit better, and that allows him to allows us to see a better Son, because he's able to then manage him a little bit better than what we have been, where he plays week in, week out without foul. When he's injured, when he's half, 70% fit or 100% fit, he plays no matter what. But with the options like Stel says, Odebert and stuff, hopefully we can start seeing alternatives. And as a result, the team will benefit from that from happening, because look what's happened to the likes of Spence, where he was sitting out for so long, and he's come in and he's been like breath of fresh air. Do you know what I mean? He's been absolutely.
How old is Spence? He's 23, 24.
He's young, yeah. But how long did he have to wait for his opportunity? And we was playing Porro week in, week out, even when he was
Jed Spence is 24 years old. He's not a kid. He's got a bit more about him. He's 24 years old.
But he's not. But how long has he been at the club already? Do you know what I mean? He's been there a little while.
He's been there since Conte. So what's that? Two and a half years?
That's what I'm saying. So he's only now recently getting a run of games. All I'm saying is that
and that was by luck, because everyone got injured.
This is what I'm saying. What is it that everyone's been seeing that he wasn't picked for? And you think to yourself, the amount of times that we played Porro game after game after game, whether it was in form, out of form, and in form again, we was playing him constantly. And you're thinking all that time you had Spence sitting there watching others play, and you think to yourself, and now that he's had the opportunity, I think the experiences of going on loan helped him massively. He went on loan out here in the UK, but he went on loan in Italy as well. I think those loan experiences has helped.
Iggy, I think you're being way too nice, man. I think we were so desperate because we were depleted from injuries. We were battered as a team. Do you know what? The same thing happened at Arsenal. Arteta was on his knees, getting whooped, falling apart, and he ended up playing Smith Rowe and Saka. He brought them in because he had no other choice, and by chance, it landed for him. And I think the same's happened with Spence. Just out of desperation, he's been forced to play Spence.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying
and Spence took his chance.
I'm talking to Spence as a player. Thinking him going on loan. I know people in the chat saying he didn't do too well on loan, but those experiences helped him. Going into a different league. He went to France, then he went to Italy. I think those experiences, even though perhaps he didn't play like really, it helped. Those experiences helped him come back as a better player. And whether it was by luck, whether it was by this or by that, whatever the reasons were, he's coming out of it a better player for it. And we are now seeing what we kind of the potential that we saw at Nottingham Forest, because we all saw that there was something about him when he was at Forest. We're starting to see that now, and we need a few more players like that, because he's been one of the few positives that's come out.
Can I ask you something about this? Because this is something that's pissing me off at Spurs. By the way, we do a super chat. Sanilla, big up to you. Good evening, guys. Thanks for the watch along on Saturday. I normally don't do watch longs, but it was good fun. Sorry if I spoilt it with updates. Hope you feel better soon. Cinda, thank you very much. I'll be doing more watch longs, especially the away games, because I don't go to the away games. So just keep an eye out for those. Iggy, I want to say something. Like, you know, you're saying how Jed Spence is doing well. Look at him now. I think this is because he's getting minutes. And when you get minutes and it's week in, week out, it's not stop, start, stop, start.
Of course.
You get a chance to
Momentum.
actually. Well, you get a chance to try and prove yourself. It's not just here's 30 minutes, here's 10 minutes, here's 5 or 6 games, and he kind of took his chance. But this is pissing me off because we've got Mikey Moore, we had Will Lancashire, we've got Dane Scarlett. They're 3 forward players, right? I look at the January window and I'm looking back at it now, and it's actually pissed me off because did we really need to go and sign Kinski when we had Brandon Austin, an academy player, and we've got Gunter coming through the ranks who they say is better than Brandon Austin? Because I look at it now and I think we didn't need to sign Kinski. We should have given the minutes to Brandon Austin the way we did with Jed Spence. He's one of our own. We've developed him. He's a good keeper, but we didn't do it. That's the first thing. Then I look at Mateus Tell. We brought him in so he can play as number 9 striker. Well, hold on a minute. You got Will Lancashire. You got Dane Scarlett. Why don't you give them 5-6 games in a row the way you did Jed Spence, and let's see what Scarlett can do. Let's see what Lancashire can do. But instead, we've given Mateus Tell those times and minutes, and what's he done? We might as well give our academy kids a chance, and it's pissing me off because every player we bring in, we're basically saying to the academy players, piss off. I don't like it. The only signing we made that made perfect sense to me was we needed an experienced head at the back. We were just broken at the back. And actually, Danzo, I think, is actually a good signing. I don't think he's the levels, but for now, I actually think he's a good signing. So I get Danzo. Danzo, to me, makes perfect sense. I think we needed an experienced head there. I get it. But Lancashire, Scarlett, Brandon Austin, they've all been mugged off. And for what? Is Kinski really that much better than Austin? Is Mateus Tell better than Lancashire and Scarlett? I don't know.
The Kinski signing, it followed on the back of Austin getting man of the match. If you remember that game that he played at home, we had a home match. I can't remember against who now. My mind's gone blank. It might have been, was it Newcastle?
Who's that?
Austin, when he got man of the match, the game that he played.
Yes, Newcastle, yeah.
Yeah, he was man of the match that day, and you know he looked. I think I thought to myself, you know what? We've actually got a reliable goalkeeper. It makes you question why Fraser Foster was playing for all those games when you had him there, and then he plays. And you're thinking, you know, you've got a reliable goalkeeper. And soon after that game against Newcastle, where he was man of the match, we went and got Kinski. And I never quite understood that. I thought, what's going on? Why is this goalkeeper being overlooked? But again, same as Spence, why was he so overlooked by so many managers? Continues being overlooked. I have no answer to that because no one can really explain that to me. So the Kinski one, to make that the first signing was a bit of a... It made me think. It did make me reflect a little bit as to why that signing was made, and certainly a first signing. Tell one, could that be something to do with Bayern Munich and the money that they owe us for a Kane deal? Could that be part of the future deal moving forward? I don't know. That's what. But I'm glad players like Bergvall.
Yeah, but Scarlett and Lancashire are free.
Scarlett was brought back in the event that we didn't get another, because the Tell one, we wasn't sure if it was happening or not, and we was already on the floor with
Will Lancashire? Will Lancashire?
The Lancashire one, I don't know. Still, I don't know whether
this is what I mean. Are our academy players
we
good
as a
or
club,
not?
as a club, and in terms of academy players,
we don't bring them through.
We're a bit all over the shop, man. We're a bit all over the shop. There's no real programming for youngsters.
Odebert's a kid, we signed him. Yang's a kid, we signed him. Mateus Tell, we brought him in on loan, he's a kid. Bergville is a kid, we signed him. Archie Gray's a kid, we signed him. Kinski's young, we signed him. That's 6 young players we signed. That's 6 academy players now. You've said, see you later. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
How long have we been saying about the planning of this club? How long we discussed this many times, the planning of the club, and certainly how many times have we had a conversation said if you had to advise you, because you've had academy players going to Spurs as well, and we've said how many times we've said is Spurs really the right place for academy players to come through? We've had these
I say
conversations many a time.
I've said to the kids that I've got into Spurs, I've said to them, stay there as long as you can.
Get to school.
Get the free schooling. Get Spurs on your CV. Make sure you're seen when you play against Brighton, against Dortmund, against all the other teams. And then when you get 16, you will know if they're going to progress you. And if not, get an agent and start knocking on the door of the clubs that you think might like you and go and get yourself a career, because Spurs is not going to give you a career. Unfortunately, it's just not. If you're lucky, you become like a Skip and a Winks where you get 4 or 5 years and then they move you on. But I just don't get it, man. And I actually think we've got some really good academy players, man. I'm telling you, we've got some good players, but for whatever reason, we'd rather spend the money signing other players instead.
Let me give me my take on this, because you're right.
Not forgetting Donnelly, by the way. Donnelly, who's been at
Donnelly
Leyton Orient,
well,
I get that. Because he's not an experienced centre back, and Iggy, I think at the back we desperately needed experience because no Romero, no Van der Ven, Ben Davies injured, Dragusin injured. There was no experience.
Danso has been a positive signing, man.
That's the one I understand. I understand that one. It makes sense to me. But yeah, sorry, go on, Lee.
Listen, whenever these kids come out, or younger players or fringe players come out, and Ange gives them all the big up and stuff like that in these interviews, I take it as being complete and absolute waffle. I don't believe in any way, shape or form he wants to play with anything but his starting 11. That's all he wants to do week in, week out, right? It's only by necessity that he has to play these other players because of the fact, we've got injuries, etc. And we've seen this. We've seen this in matches where we're comfortable, we're winning, and yet they still won't bring them on. I'm with you on this Kingsley thing. I don't understand this whole Kingsley signing. I really don't get it. I was piping on about Austin since the summer. He pretty much played all of the summer friendlies, etc. And one thing that you can't escape from in these friendlies is you as a goalkeeper, right? You can't. You're going to get shots fired at you. And I thought he did really, really well in most of the matches that we played. So I was like, okay, we don't need another goalkeeper. He can be back up to Vicario once Fraser Forster is sort of, moving off, given his age, etc., etc. So it was a really strange signing to me. And everyone that's saying, you can't nurture a goalkeeper who's 26, he's 26. He's not even in his prime yet. He's nowhere near his prime as a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers have got much higher ceilings when it comes to their age until what they go on to than any other position does. So there's no, he's still at 26. He's still quite young for a goalkeeper, right? So that doesn't make any sense. The Kingsley signing. The other one as well is the whole Lancashire / Scarlett situation. I've been harping on to give Lancashire minutes. I mean, he's been absolutely cutting it up in the under-21s, etc. If he's good or he's not, you've got to give him minutes, and he just hasn't. He hasn't been getting any minutes whatsoever. We ship Scarlett out to Oxford. We then ask for him back because Oxford don't think he's good enough to put him on the pitch and give him minutes. And then all of a sudden he becomes better than Lancashire on the basis that you've not given Lancashire any minutes to actually understand if he's any better or not. So I still personally think there's a pecking order, and with Scarlett coming back, that means you've got to get Lancashire out the door on loan because he's just not going to get any minutes, even if he was better than Scarlett. It's all just complete and utter muddle at the moment, and no one really knows. You know that in other teams like Liverpool, Man City, etc., as a youngster, if the potential is there and the opportunity is there, the manager will give you minutes, right? Look at Lewis at Man City, etc., Harvey Elliott, etc., and the right back for Liverpool, Conor Bradley.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out of nowhere, right? And
Look at Arsenal,
played-
Yamweri and Skelly.
yeah, exactly. So unless you're playing these kids, and I'm not through necessity where you're putting them under extreme pressure, then as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe the management or the coach. Well, we know he ain't coaching these players. He's got no interest in coaching. Then it's simply just a case of he doesn't believe in them, so he doesn't give them minutes. So they're never going to progress. So some of these guys, I feel really sorry for them, and I think, again, we've got the sensation from Korea, right? I know it's going to take time to bed in. I know it's going to take time to adjust to being in a Western country or whatever. But come on, he's a footballer. Stick him on the pitch and let him do. QPR got no problem putting him on the pitch.
Mate,
Ange's
tell
not a coach. Ange's not a coach. You need to come in. You need to have the right.
We know that.
You need to have the right manager, coach that's guiding that team. And Arsenal, they've always had a few players, good young players coming through. But also you got to look at the context that they're coming in. Like Arsenal at the moment, you look at it. Okay, forget the defeat that they had against West Ham, but generally as a team, they are thriving. Okay, the young players, they're rejuvenating, bringing youngsters in.
except for yesterday.
Except for yesterday, but I'm talking about as a concept. As a concept, it's far easier for a young player to come in and do well in a team that's running properly. Yeah, compared to us, if you bring in young players in a team that's already struggling for results,
Yeah, it doesn't help. It doesn't help.
It doesn't help. And you Bergvall, for example, like I said earlier, players like because of what's happened at Tottenham, he's been able to play a lot more. Look what's happening with Gray at the back.
He had a good game against Ipswich, actually, Bergvall. He had a very good game.
Bergvall's growing.
Hold on.
We
Did he have a
always
good
said
game?
there's a player in him. We've always said that. There's a player in Bergvall. I think Gray's doing just as well. I think Gray's doing well. He's
Gray put a fantastic ball from the back to set up Son's assist.
And he's a really good ball playing. Listen, him at the back.
He's all right on the ball. He's all right.
Something might be growing there in the sense of he might become a really good centre back because he's a good ball playing centre back.
I don't think so.
No. I'm sorry.
Listen,
let me just rebuttal what you said there a couple of times with a couple of things, and I don't want to be the negative one, but Maz ain't here, so someone's got to step in.
That's it. Maz just taking shots for no reason.
Yeah, that's it. Gray, for me, first 20 minutes, that boy was getting cut inside out. Right, he was getting absolutely walked all over the park.
He's up against an absolute giant in the lap, man. He's physically towers of size.
But so there you go. Then to
be fair, our whole team
he cannot be a centre back. He's going to take him time.
Yeah, but Lee, he wasn't him getting ripped. Well, whole team got ripped. No. Listen to me, Liggy. Listen to me.
When Romero and Van der Ven are back, you watch. Gray's name won't be seen anywhere.
Yeah, 100%.
Because not only is he not going to be pulled into the centre defence, you very rarely change your central defenders unless there's injuries, right? So he's going to be a bench warmer. And he's now at least fourth or fifth choice in the midfield because of the fact that Bergvall's been playing, because of the fact Maddison's back, Basuma, Sarr, etc. So this comes back to my worry about these kids and your ethos about these kids getting chucked in while there's pressure on. It's not the best environment. I don't think it's necessarily going to progress them because as soon as everyone else is back, they're just going to be forgotten about because Angie's got no interest.
That's what's wrong, though. That's what's wrong.
And I completely agree with you.
You turn to these players when you're absolutely back against the wall. Whilst I can accept that Romero and Van der Ven rightly take their place back as central defenders, of course they should. But you don't then just completely shut the door on those players that have been bailing you out for the last 6 months. They should still be given game time.
We've seen him do it. He does not give these kids game time unless he's absolutely forced into it. He doesn't. We've seen that. And on Bergvall, I've seen some people saying he was absolutely sensational. He was world class, blah, blah, blah on Saturday. I remember us having a conversation. I remember me and you having a conversation still that says when he's not under pressure, he looks like a competent midfielder. As soon as you put any pressure on him, he loses the ball. He can't keep hold of it.
That's part of his growth, Lee, man.
Yeah, but that's exactly what. Yeah, but hold on. This is exactly what what the problem is with our mentality as Spurs fans at the moment. We're bigging him up now, when in actual fact, I can't even remember what the Ipswich midfield were. They were so absent, right? So he had all the time in the world. You give anyone time in the world. He needs to progress, and I agree with you, and he needs to be given that time. But we can't be putting him on a pedestal saying he's world-class, he's sensational, when they were giving him all the time in the world. Because now the expectation is he comes, what if he starts against Man City and then he's got Gundogan all over him, he's got, Kovacic all over him, and he doesn't play like that again. All of a sudden, oh no, he's shit. We can't keep seesawing these kids. Just let him progress, let him learn, let him experience these matches. But this whole, oh yeah, he's great, oh he's crap, oh, he's got to stop.
All I've ever said
really
about
has got to stop.
All I've ever
I
said about
do think he had a
Bergwijn-
good game against Ipswich, though.
All I've ever said about Bergwijn
Definitely one of
is
his
that
better
I see a
performances,
player in him.
but not some of the
always
ways
said just
bringing
that.
about.
I see a player in him. I see something about him, and he's definitely got something about him that I think that can grow a lot
Absolutely.
more. And I think
I
being
do agree.
surrounded by just as good quality players and perhaps a little bit more experience inside some, he could benefit from that. But he definitely needs to be part. If we move forward with 3 central midfielders, and we have as a whole 6 midfielders for 3 places, and we alternate them, or we've got 4 or 5% of midfielders, whatever many. I would like him to be part of that and get as game time, and maybe not play every week, but get that game time so he can develop. Now we need to have the right manager as well to allow these players to develop. So if they do have a good game, we keep him, we keep him grounded and humble. And if he has a shit player, a shit game, it's not the end of the world. It's part of the growth of a young player to have good games and bad games. Now I think overall he's stepped up, and I think he's done better than the likes of Bissouma, for example. I think he's definitely been more useful to the cause than perhaps Bissouma has. And that's why, for me, I would like to see him more involved moving forward because of the age factor, because of the fact that he's got something about him, like I said. So I would like to see more of him, certainly be part of the future squad moving forwards. Now, do we need better players in that middle of the park? Yeah, I believe so. I think we do. But I would like him to be part of that 5-6 players that we have in central midfield moving forward the squad. That's all.
Who do you think he benefits playing alongside, though, more? Because I don't think it helps his progression if he's chucked in there with Basuma and Sarr, because I don't think they are.
I think players like Bentancur.
I think Bentancur he plays it better when he's in there with him to give that a bit more stability, a bit more experience.
We need better. We need better than, than the likes of Sarr, with all due respect, and the likes of Basuma, who, whatever the reasons may be, hasn't worked out at Spurs. For me, the signing of Basuma hasn't worked out. So we need to look for other players. But I think with the likes of Bentancur and Bergwijn completed, you got to look at the positives this season. What's Bentancur would keep.
Look at the positives this season. Are you trying to wind me up?
I'm saying Bentancur and Bergwijn in this team, they've been of all the central midfielders that we've had, they have been probably the more positive ones than the others have. Bissouma's been really poor this season. Sarr, Maddison, I'm not sure what's going on with him.
Maddison's got the most goals and assists of any midfielder in the team.
I like Madders, but for some reason, why is he in and out of the team? I haven't understood this
He
yet.
dribbled past 3 players to set up Spencer.
I agree. He has that, but why is he in and out of the team? I've not understood this. No one can answer me. These are the questions that we have. No one can answer them.
Let me do a super chat quickly. Henry Fogg TV, thank you very much. Big up all. Like and subscribe. If Ange somehow wins the Europa League, Stell should sing I'm Loving Big Ange instead. Would be great. We're not winning the Europa League, Henry Thong. We're really not. I know fans are getting carried away again, but they just never learn. William, big up as always, my man. Thank you for your super sticker.
Do you not think that we've got a real good possibility, certainly from our side of the board,
to go
to at least the semi-finals, even if it is against Lazio, who's been.
I'll tell you what. Let's finish off the Ipswich game, and then we'll go straight into Europa Cup. So I want to talk about the Europa Cup actually, because a lot of fans, for me, have lost the plot again, and I just don't. I just feel like we love pain. But I'm going to answer you, Iggy. We beat Ipswich 4-1. Johnson scored the first goal. It was a brilliant ball from Archie Gray. sent it forward. Son got to the byline, crosses it in, and Johnson gets in front of the centre back and puts it into the back of the net. And then 8 minutes later, Benton called with a brilliant through ball to Son, splitting the defence. Son again beats a man, step over. This time he cuts in, beats a player, squares it just inside the box, and then Johnson puts it into the bottom corner to score. But this time, he kind of scuffed the shot. If you go back and look, it hit his ankle, but it's okay. It went in. He scored. Johnson again, ole ole. He's Messi. He's amazing. I mean, I don't buy it. But look, he scores goals. I can't complain. I can't.
The last sentence there was telling. Did you see what the funny old game? Spurs have been second best, but are leading 2-0.
Well, listen, the first 15 minutes, Ipswich cut us open. They were ripping us. They should have been 2-3-0 up. It looked like a long day for Spurs, but we did what we've done best this season. We are a counter-attacking team. There's one thing I want to bring up, though. Let me just go through the goals. I'll bring something up because it's something that I noticed. And when people say I wouldn't mind Paul McKenna, the Ipswich manager at Spurs, I don't want him. And I'll explain to you why. Ipswich managed to equalise. Danso went in for a one-on-one, messed it up, fell over. The ball got put out wide. And then Ipswich caught us out of shape, squared it back. Jack Clark, ex-Spurs player, setting up Hutchinson, who put it across the goal into the corner. A brilliant finish, actually. And it was some goal because he had to beat Vicario, which is no joke because Vicario is looking really good at the moment. So 2-1. But then the second half, Spurs put them to bed. Maddison gets the ball, bops and weaves in and out of 2-3 players. And then Spence, I have to say, he took a really good first touch, opened up his body, and it was deflected. It went in, but the way the way he didn't panic and took the touch to open up his body, that's really good. There's forward players that don't do that. Richarlison doesn't do that. I don't see our wide players often do that. But Spence, as a wing back, he did. So I was impressed by that. But then the last goal, Vicario sends the ball out wide. Dane Scarlett beats his man, flicks it on to Kulu, and then Kulu from the halfway line ran all the way up to the Ipswich goal, cut inside in a banging left foot curler. There's two things I noticed, right? Ipswich tactically were so naive. Look at their 3 goals that we scored, right? High line. Not that one. This one, sorry. High line again. And then the 4th goal for Kulu. High line. If you give Spurs that space in behind, we've said it 1,000 times. If you do this, if there's one team that's actually good at punishing you, it's us. If you give Spurs that space behind, we will punish you. And I can't believe Ipswich were that naive to give us that space. And boy, they deserve to lose 4-1 because we're good at this. And people often say to me, oh, man, all you do is shit on Spurs. We can't do anything right. I've said it 1,000 times. A counter-attacking team with space to run into, I think Spurs are one of the best in the league. I've said it time and time again. Where we're awful is if a team low blocks us, we don't know what to do. But also, against Leicester, against Man United, even though we beat them, we get carved open to open. And the goal they scored, look at this, guys. This sums it up. This is the goal they scored. We've got 6 against 3, right? We've got 2 players to every one of theirs. You've got Bentancur, who's looking at the ball, hasn't seen the number 20. You've got Dogi, who's got 2 players to mark now. We're out of shape. We're disjointed. We've made an absolute mess of this. And all Clark had to do was square it to the 20 or the 19 and they're in. This defending is shocking. And this isn't like a one-off. This happens every single freaking week, except once in a while where we actually look a bit stable. But I still think defensively we're shit. And Iggy,
well, do you know
this is why we're not winning the Europa Cup again. This is why we're not going to win it. In my view,
what doesn't help, right? And this is what I see through my lenses. When we play out from the back, and because of the way that we're set up with the inversion and players pulling inside and going outside, etc., because we get so easily turned over a lot of the time, we're then completely out of shape. And that's where teams hurt us more than anything. The amount of turnovers this season has been absolutely ridiculous. But this is where I watch the likes of, the other team, Liverpool, Man City, stuff like that, because they don't do this whole inversion, and they can keep traditional fullbacks that sort of pull the space out wide, etc. When it does get turned over, they're sort of still in a position, they're in a shape where they can track back. Whereas our guys, I mean, look at Danso's position there. He looks like he's playing in the number 8.
Well, Danzo,
and it makes no sense because we've got no cover at the back.
Lee, what happened? Danzo pushed into that middle area to win a 1-on-1. But what was stupid about it was, obviously, this is fast forwarded, but Bentancur was there and so was Bergvall. Danzo didn't need to step into the space. Bentancur and Bergvall were there, but Danzo just went. And as soon as he got it wrong, you've now got the centre back, the 6 and the 8 all caught there. They're in. But even then, guys, we've still got enough players. But where's the man marking? Where are people checking over their shoulders to see where players are? When I do my tactical analysis show, I think every week I say the same thing. Why is no one looking over their shoulder to see where they are? And have you noticed, as soon as Udogie comes back and he's got to step into that gap, it goes to shit. He did the same thing against Brighton. He steps in, it goes to shit. Udogie cannot step into the centre-back role when we're caught like that. He just doesn't get it. I've noticed that with Udogie. That's one part of his game. He's a mess. And he got exposed again. But look, we scored 4 really good goals, though. I have to say, this goal here, the ball from Archie Gray was superb. This goal here, the through ball from Bentancur was outstanding. And this here, the Kulu solo run and the finish was top draw. Like, the goals we scored were excellent. Like, really, really good goals. But again, it's because we've got the space to attack. So I don't really know where we're at. I just feel like it's the same every other week. It's kind of, give us the space, we'll hurt you. Low block us, we don't know what to do. Catch us at the back, we're at 6s and 7s, and it's whether or not you can finish your dinner. Because Man United did the same thing to us, but they couldn't finish their dinner. Garnacho's blasting it over. Bruno's missing chances. Xerxes missing headers from 4 yards out. So, I mean, stats-wise, guys,
this is what I've said. This is why I said still.
They had more shots.
I'll take each game as it comes.
Stats-wise, they had more shots than us. On target was about the same. We had more passes because we had more possession. Clear-cut chances, it was 1 each. So stats-wise, this game should have been a draw. But give us that space, we will bury you. Any team that gives us that space, I've said it times and time again, we can hurt teams. It's whether they're smart enough not to do it. This is why we've got a chance against Man City on Thursday, because you're not going to give that space. It's whether we can get on the ball, though.
This has been the story of the season now. We have to take each game as it comes. There's no two ways about it. Man City won. We don't know what Man City we're going to face. Like you said, Man City played well against Liverpool. They weren't as bad as Liverpool were, like proper clinical. And that's the thing with Liverpool. They can absorb pressure. They're quite happy to leave you with the ball. Slot said in it, they needed to defend. They needed to be good defensively, sound against them. And because they know that in that final third, they can hurt you at any given time. That's the quality there. That's the levels that we're talking at. Man City, I agree. I don't think they played that bad, but it's another defeat, and they're coming to us, following the elimination of the Champions League. They follow another defeat at Liverpool.
Iggy, do you know what's worrying?
Well,
Man City have been shit this season. Look where they're on the league table.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
They could. They could.
Points, no.
Do you know what? I'm going to tell you.
Hang on. When we say we've been shit, they haven't been their level. They're very high level. That's what it comes down to.
They went 10 games without winning.
Yeah. But then again,
teams around
them have been dropping points.
I tell you what. I'm going to say it now. If Man City beat Spurs on Wednesday,
they'll catch Arsenal.
They will finish second. They will finish second in the league. In their shittest season, they'll come second. I bet you. But they've got to beat us first. I don't know if they can beat us because we're their bogey team. What's your thoughts on that? Listen, guys. If by the way, if you're tuning in on Wednesday night, we'll do our post-match show right here. Come and join us.
Still,
we'll be going
we're playing
live
on Wednesday, man. We're playing on Wednesday. You know that.
Yes, Wednesday, not
Yeah,
Thursday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. Sorry, beg your pardon, guys. It's Wednesday, not Thursday. But what do you think about that game, guys? Because listen, we are their bogey team, we are. But I've watched them play recently. That they're not playing badly, They're not. They didn't have Haaland, who might be back. That Mamouche looks decent. Doku, I'm not sure about. Savino's a good player. Foden's a good. They're not rubbish. Man City are not rubbish. They're fourth in the league.
No,
Mate,
man.
Doku, did you see the stat on Doku last night, Iggy? Apparently, Alexander Arnold just gave up in the end. He dribbled past him about 14 times. Some ridiculous stat, like every time he went up against Arnold, he just dribbled past him. But there's no output, there's no end product. That's the issue. He can be all flair and fancy. If you've got no end product and actually carve something out after you've done that, then what's the point? It's absolute madness.
Listen, go on,
I don't know how to. No, go on, Iggy. I don't know what to predict with this game. I really don't. I don't know what to think.
It's a tough one because they've obviously need to bounce back from that defeat, and they struggle. They struggle at our ground, but it's different. And now, at the very least, we're going into that game with some sort of confidence, following the fact that we've won 3 games, something that we haven't done, I don't believe, all season. So, but it is a Wednesday night. It's at home, and it's going to be like, the crowd are always up for these sort of games. And if for me, if we can get a really good start and perhaps score earlier on, it could be an eventful night. I can see goals. I can see quite a few goals in this match. But moving forward for us, it's all about getting players back. And I think our Europa Cup run will really rely massively on recovering a lot of the players leading up to, which I believe can be make the semi-finals. I think if we could get into the semi-finals, I know you say you got Lazio, potentially get Lazio, who have been the most consistent teams in Europa. I think if we can get our players back, we'll give ourselves a chance. That's all you want, man. You want to give yourself a chance to really try and go far in that competition. That's all you can. That's the one thing we haven't had all season is everyone available. I think if we have that, then we'll give ourselves a chance. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we're going to win it. I'm just saying we give it. I can see still like foaming at the mouth already when I say that. I'll just say that we give ourselves a chance. That is all you can ask for.
Let me go next, Tiggy, before let him froth a bit more.
Go on.
Do I think that we can win the Europa League? Yes, absolutely. I think any team that's left in it can win it. Do I think that we are favourites to win it? Absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not. I think it's going to have to be some hard graft and some luck.
Favorites.
Yeah, I know we are, and I still don't understand why. Do I think that we can? We will need to put some hard graft in, and I think we have to have some luck over 2 legs in a couple of the games. So yeah, I think we've got as much chance as anyone else. I don't understand how we're favourites though, because some of the teams that are left in it are better than we are. Their form is better than we are. And
guys, let me ask you one thing. On our side of the table, if we bring that thing up, that board up, so on our side of the table, I know there's a lot of good teams in that competition, but from our side of the table, which is the left-hand side, I believe, we have a good chance. I'm not saying like we're going to go and win it, but I'm saying on our side of the table, who scares you to death in that? Other than your own team, I know Tottenham always scares me to death personally, but other than us, then you look at it, you think yourself, I'd fancy my chances against any of those teams on that side of the table. Of course, there's Rome on the other side. You've got Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce. You've got on our side.
Yeah, but we fancied our chances against most of the teams that we've played in the first half of the competition. Yet look how those results turned out.
I fancied us against Tamworth. I thought we'd smash Tamworth. Listen, I'll be short and sweet. I've said it, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it 100 times. When we signed Werner, I told everyone what was going to come next, but no. They listened to all the journalists and all all the pundits, all the sports agents that told you Gallagher, Neto, Eze are coming to Spurs. And I said, no, they're not. No, they're not. We didn't sign any of them. We went into the start of the season, people saying, we're going to get fourth, we're going to get third. And I said, with what squad? We haven't improved the squad. There's no experience. When we get injuries, when we got to rotate, we're going to come unstuck. We fell apart. Then I sat here on this show saying to you guys, we're not going to get a result at Anfield. We're going to go there. And as soon as that, when you walk, as soon as it starts, and we shat ourselves, we got battered 4-0. I said to everyone, we're going to go to Villa. We're cooked. It's over. And I'm saying to you now, as soon as we play one team where the manager looks at us and says, you are naive, I'm tactically better, he sets them up, they're well-oiled, they're well-drilled, and they've got a couple of killers up front, we're out. We might even go 2-0 up in the first leg, but in that second leg, they will show us what's what, and we will get stung. And all the Spurs fans are going to do this. I can't believe we went out. What happened?
No, I'm not.
We're unlucky. I'm saying
all
to you now, whether it's the semi-finals, the quarterfinals, maybe even the final. I think semi-finals. When we play that one team, we are out. We ain't winning shit under this manager. And full squad or no full squad, he hasn't got what it takes tactically when it matters. And there'll be that one team that just looks at us and says, yeah, we'll have some of you. And they're going to do us. I'm telling you.
The guy's saying Lazio, and Lazio, the earliest that we could face him is the semi-final. So all I've ever said, and I'll say it again, I just want a full squad leading up to that game. If both teams face each other in that semi-final, then we'll see. Maybe you will be right. I don't know. I just want to have a full squad going into that game and give it a good crack. That's.
Do you know? I'll tell you who worries me. Right, I'm worried about Eintracht Frankfurt if we get them. I think we'll beat AZ out. By the way, people saying AZ Alkmaar we are going to knock them out. Right? I'm not even going to entertain that conversation. People want to think we're going to struggle. We will knock them out. Frankfurt are decent. That could be a problem. Lazio scare me. If we were to get to the final, I'm telling you now, if we get Athletic Bilbao, we're out. If we get Man United, after beating them 3 times this season, in the final, they will pull our pants down. The one that scares me the most, and you lot are going to laugh, anyhow we play Mourinho, we're fucked. He's got it. If we get Mourinho, he's gonna do it. You know.
The thing is, he's got 3 ex-teams there. He's got United, Roma, and us.
Iggy.
3 ex-teams along the way. They can be.
Iggy, name one club and one chairman in world football that pissed him off more than anyone else. Name one.
I know, but the earliest we can face them is a final if they're both teams make.
What a moment to slide on his knees in his suit in front of Levy. Like that. You just know it. I do not want to play Mourinho. I do not. He will shithouse it. He will roadblock it. He'll put 11 men on the goal. 1 set piece, 1 corner, 1-0, over. He'll lock it down and we'll be fucked. I fear it. I fear Mourinho. I do not want to. I don't think he'll get to the final, but if he does and we get there, they're the 3 or 4 teams I'm worried about. We might beat one of them, but we won't beat the others. I just don't see it, Iggy. We couldn't beat Ipswich at home. We couldn't beat Crystal Palace away. We couldn't beat. We've got it in us. It's still there. We've still got it in us. That Spursy, Angie ball. It's not gone away. It's still there.
So I've got a question for you then. If we are, so the expectation that we're hearing coming out of Spurs at the moment is Van der Ven and Romero should be back around the time of the first leg for Alkmaar.
Mm-hmm.
Given that we know that he rushed them back last time, or they didn't manage their injuries well enough, and because of those because that's if you're looking at it at the matches that we could have or have got or potentially could have running up to the final, I think you could probably both agree with me that that's probably the easiest team that we will have up until the final.
Yeah.
Do you not play them and hope and save them for a game against the likes of Frankfurt which is they're going to be needed more, or do you just chuck them back in and hope they don't get injured again?
I would have said don't play them, but after they knocked out Galatasaray, I don't think we can take that chance. Big up, Michael. How you doing, mate? I don't think we can take the chance because they dumped out Galatasaray quite convincingly. And from what Steve says, because Steve, big up Strasbourg, Steve, he watches a lot of European football. He said they found a bit of form and they're doing all right now. So I still think we knock them out, Lee, regardless. But I think you have to go. The league's over. We're not winning jack shit in the league. We're not going to finish in any European positions, right? We've completely fucked it up. All we've got is Europa. I think we all agree you've got to go all out every Europa Cup game. Yeah. Play your best 11 every Europa Cup. That's all we've got left. I'd play them. As long as they're fit, though, Lee. I don't, if we play them just because they're back and then they get injured again because we've rushed them back, then no. Like, phase them in properly if they're fit.
Yeah, assuming they can play, right? Because apparently Romero was training today with the team, right? So it's 1.5 weeks until we play Alkmaar away, right?
Yeah.
So if he is training now, then maybe he will be ready for the match, right? That's how I would, look at this. Yeah.
Iggy, right. I know you're going to play a full strength team if they're available.
Of course. It's the biggest match of the season. For what we have left, that would be the biggest match of the season. Yeah. So you have to go all out. So what if they fucking get injured? Who gives a shit? If we go out and they get injured, so what?
I guess my concern with them is...
I've had them out all season. What do I care if they miss the rest of the season?
That's actually fair enough. That's
true. Well, I'm guessing my concern is... Yeah, I get what you're saying, guys, and I really do, and I'll take it on board. But I guess what my worry is that it's not as much about chucking them in. It's the fact that they've not had any game time leading up. If that's the point of where we're saying they're going to be back at that match, surely you want to give them some minutes before that to get them up to speed. Yes. If it's that important.
Yes,
right.
Of course.
And that's what I don't see them getting because they're saying that's Lee, when they're going to be available again.
I will do a full-on investigation in that whole medical doctor, everyone at the end of the season to find out what the fuck happened this season with these players picking up the injuries they did. Honestly, I would go absolutely ape shit as soon as the games are all done to really get. Because I've never ever understood.
I thought they changed the stuff. Wasn't there news?
It's like it's as if that we've got a medical team that's just being recruited directly from the school, primary school.
No, I told you they're all post uni vets.
It's just, you can't. How do you run a club?
Before they come to Spurs, they were doing hamstrings on goats.
Just fucking cow impregnations.
That's what they couldn't work it out. They were like, "Hold on, he's only got 2 hamstrings. I'm used to 4."
Do you know what? You reminded me of something funny. Nothing to do with football. I was watching the news the other day, and the Houses of Parliament was on TV. Don't ask me why I was watching it. I couldn't care less about politics, but it was on, and one of the MPs stood up and said to the health minister that he goes. I don't know why I'm saying this. He goes, so health minister, you've said it's okay for a person to identify as a llama. So I can, it's all right for me to tell people that I'm a llama. Yeah. And he goes, if someone in my family identifies as a llama and they fall ill in the middle of the night, who do I call? A doctor, a vet, or a straitjacket? And you know what? I was thinking, is this what goes on in the Spurs medical department? Is this the kind of conversations? Is there something like this is going on? But anyway, man, I thought it was hilarious. Okay, back to football.
Yeah, yeah. I know that there were a couple of like LinkedIn, job application thingies, right? For our like medical department. I don't know if they fired the old guys or just recruited new ones. And they broadened the staff or something like that, right? But yeah, there definitely something happened there. Listen, like By the way, I get Lee's point, right? The only thing I look at this from a point of view of like we will have to play them eventually. You eventually like have to get them into the team and try to play them, right? Because I think we as a Spurs fans are now in that mentality of like, you know, they were injured, came back, went injured again. So we just fear that they will immediately get injured again, and we rather not play them than see them get injured. So listen, I still believe there are like professionals doing their job in that medical department. And if they say that they will be ready for the Alkmaar first leg, then I believe them that they will be ready. And if they are ready, then they should take part. I'm not saying start necessarily, because I think Danso has been doing a good job, and I'm not into that whole, you know, Romero comes back, Danso sit on the bench, right? But if Romero is fit, then he should take part in that game, in my opinion. Same thing with
Listen, I've said I think we go out in the semi-finals. Okay, what are your predictions then? Like, what do you honestly think will happen, guys? You're allowed to say you think we're going to win it, but I will cuss you when we don't.
Look, for me, we should listen. As Alkmaar, right? They're a good side. I remember when we played them. Was it last season we had them, or the season before?
No, this season in the league.
Yeah, it was last season, and they were a decent team, but we should be more than capable of knocking them out over the 2 legs, in my opinion. If we don't, then forget about it. It's like, but I think if we get past this round, it'd be what the quarterfinals after that.
Frankfurt or Ajax. After that.
So I think we could do this one here, and I think if we can get past the next one, Ajax and who's it? Mike, Frankfurt.
Ajax or Frankfurt, yeah.
That's a tough one, man. But again, they're not impossible games. They are at that for the level of the competition that you find yourself in. Those are teams that you should be able to deal with. That's all I'm saying. And then, of course, for me, the most consistent one I've seen this season in Europa has been Lazio. And we will face them at the very earliest in the semis if we get there. That's going to be the tough one, man. There's no two ways about that. But the 2 rounds before, we should be able to compete and get.
Iggy, you watch Italian football a lot. What you tell us a bit more about Lazio? Listen,
Lazio, a good side, man. They're well drilled. They've got a new manager there this season who's got them going really, really well. They're exciting team to watch, man. They've got proper technical players in there. They can hurt you at any given time.
Have they got goal scorers, Iggy? Have they got players that can kill it off?
You know what? I'm impressed with them more so from the wide players that they got. The wide players can really hurt you more than the striker himself. But what they're really good is in transition. In transition, when they're going to attack, they're really deadly. They've been really good this season, consistent as well. Do
they sit deep then pounce, or are they a bit more balanced?
No, they're a bit more balanced than that. They are a bit more balanced. They don't sit deep. They're not like sitting deep, but they don't really play like ridiculously high line like us or anything like that. They're a bit more balanced in the way that they play. They've got really good midfield, technical midfield.
So they're a bit like Liverpool then. They're a bit like Liverpool.
In the wide areas, they're very good. They're good. They are good in the transitions. But listen, for me, this season in the league, they haven't done really. They've done good for the level, but in Europa, that's where they're putting. As soon as that Europa League games come up, they will put all their eggs in that basket because they really want to win the Europa.
You know what? I think the key to that game, if it's Spurs Lazio, where the second leg is, because if we have to go to Lazio for the second leg, yeah, all right. If it's a their ground, well, then you know what's going to happen. They'll come to us, shut shop, keep it tight. Maybe it's a draw or they lose by a goal. They take us to their ground and then they just chew us up. That's what
Lazio in 5th place at the moment. They are exactly where they should be.
They're a good team.
They're floating between Europa and Champions League places. So they're exactly where they should be. But they're going to be putting all their eggs in their baskets for the Europa. There's no two ways about it. And they've done well this season in the Europa. So look, we'll see. But all I've ever asked for, man, is for us to have our full squad available when it comes to the crunch in Europa. If we have that, we give ourselves a chance. That's it. That's what you can ask for. I keep saying that. I sound like a broken record, but I will keep saying that, man.
Ian, thanks for joining us. Please tell the public. Good evening. Please tell the public, mislead and lie to them why we're going to win the Europa.
Listen, I've said all along, we're one of half dozen clubs that can win it. Again, we're going to be reliant on, as Ziggy said, if we've got 10 or 11 of our first 11 playing, then we got a chance. I don't think there's anybody in there that is outstanding. We're not playing a Real Madrid or Barcelona. There are decent teams in there, but they're all tier two teams in a tier 2 competition. Otherwise, they're in the Champions League.
There's one team. Atletico Bilbao. They've been on an unbelievable run. They're 6 points off the top of La Liga. Oh. They're on fire, and the final is in their stadium.
Okay, they've got to get past Roma first. That's not going to be easy.
No, it's a tough game. You're right.
They got a really tough game, much tougher game than we have. Listen, Alkmaar won't be easy. I was disappointed in Alkmaar. I thought we made really heavy work of beating them in October. And it took a penalty because in terms of the way the game went, we were so much better than them. And in the end, we sneaked home. But Gray was named, and here comes Kia and the fan club. Guys, I don't need Stell to tell me about Gray's pass. I was there. I saw it. It was right in front of me. So, but thanks anyway, and good evening, everyone.
Look at this. I asked you about the Europa. He had to find a way to talk about Archie Gray.
To be fair, you highlighted the comment about Archie Gray. Ian wasn't talking about him by himself.
Oh, so, fair enough.
You baited him into
I've got to tell you something, guys. How good was Bergvale on Saturday? Seriously, thought he had a really.
You need to speak to Lee about that. Chat to Lee about it.
I thought he had a really good game.
Melt. What a melt. Oh, sorry. Was I not on mute? Sorry.
You didn't rate him, Lee.
I just think he, as we've said before, Ian, when you give him time and he's got the space and he's not pressured, I think he's good. He's got potential. It's just I don't think Ipswich were a good enough opposition in midfield to give that kind of under pressure kind of display and see what he does there, like he has done with others. But I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he was crap. He wasn't crap, but I think they gave him all the time that he needed to show that, which is,
Lee, do you not think that if you've got a kid coming into a different level for him, then it's going to take him time to acclimatise. And if he starts, you've got to see progress. He's not going to come in and start bossing it against Liverpool. But if he starts bossing it against lower clubs, he's 19 now, as a 19-year-old coming in, first season, and then he builds next year. He'll be better against clubs who are sort of further up the table, and that's how these kids progress. So for me, that's fine. That's fine. I don't expect him to come in and be Luka Modric in 1 year.
He's never going to be Luka Modric. Let's just say that.
Never know.
That guy's 38, and he's just still banging them in anyway.
Listen, Modric is amazing, but you never know.
Did you see his goal the other night? By the way,
I saw it.
Jesus, no one's saying Bergvall is Modric, man. I think
how old is he?
Comparing him to Modric.
How old is Modric?
39.
39.
Phenomenal.
But
he's just the sort of player that we could do with.
Back.
Class.
But one thing I have to say with that, like Modric and stuff like that, right? Because people say like, oh, he will never be a Modric, right? There are like maybe 3 players in the world right now who will be Modric, right? Like I think people need to like understand that, when you talk about like Modric, Messi, or Iniesta, or guys like that they are freaks, right? They are the best of the best, right?
Absolutely.
I don't need Bergvall to be Modric, right? But if he's like a really good, solid midfielder that we actually brought in for like 8 million euros or something like that, and we develop him into a homegrown player, by the way, because he will be homegrown in 2 years, right? Which is important, right? Whether you like it or not, it is important, right? And if he's a solid player that we can either use and he will be like, playing, putting in good performances for us, and or we sell him for a huge profit, right? Then I don't mind. I don't need, like, of course, if he turns out to be a Modric, fucking brilliant, right? But if he doesn't, like, he doesn't need to be a Modric, right? If he's
No, of course not.
yeah, like if he's I don't know, like who, like McAllister. I know McAllister is a really good midfielder, one of the better ones in the league, right? So maybe not him, but you get what I mean. Like, not necessarily as good as McAllister, but like McAllister to Modric it's still a huge gap, right? Between those two.
But listen, for me there are better midfield players in the Premier League than McAllister.
The issue here, guys, is this. I was chatting to Matt Coppin about this earlier on. If you look at the players Aston Villa signed in January, right? They brought in Maylen, who's on 140k a week, Marcus Rashford on 225, and Asensio on 116. Spurs are not paying these wages.
Yeah.
They're simply not paying. If you look at their other players, these are players already in their squad. A lot of their players are on 100k or more. We were never going to pay that for Rashford, never going to pay that for Maylen, never going to pay that for Asensio. So, I mean, Asensio looks like a real player for them. And they've now got some extra players to add alongside the existing players. They've got like Watkins, Rodgers, McGinn. They've now added more firepower. So I think they've actually done really good business. But the thing is, they're paying the wages, whereas we are having to, let's get a kid who's in goal, cheap wages. Danzo, cheap wages. Tell, I guess we're splitting the bill, or it's a loan deal, so it's not really expensive. This is the difference, isn't it? Spurs under Levy are operating in a cheap bucket, whereas Villa, who don't have our resources, give him 200 grand a week, give him 140 grand a week. That's the biggest problem, isn't it? It's the wage structure at Spurs.
But that's been the problem since day one. It's risk versus reward, isn't it? It's buying cheap and hoping they come good rather than paying the wages and knowing they're good.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Of course. But Leeds, this is how Levy's always run Tottenham. There's no risk ever involved. He runs it completely differently to any other football club. Go on to podcasts of any other Premier League club and see if they're having the same discussions that we do, talking about money for hotels and White Webb's Park for the NFL. I mean, no one else talks about crap like that. It's they talk about football club. Money gets brought in. Events happen. I saw Coldplay at the Etihad nearly 2 years ago. I'm going to Anfield this summer for Billy Joel. That money will go into the respective football clubs. Finished. They will look to strengthen the playing staff. It's not there to put towards a hotel or an NFL training grounds. It's just bullshit. So you can't compare Tottenham to any other club because Levy runs it completely differently, and we're at a complete disadvantage to everybody else. Even Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton, whose revenues are much smaller than us, but percentage-wise, those directors put more in percentage-wise than we do.
Yeah, but as you said, the worst part is that it's by our own choosing, right? It's not like we are financially restricted by something or someone, right? It's only purely because of our own choice, right?
Of course it is.
Yeah, I listen. The maddest part is what you mentioned, right? Because if you look at our wage bill, like the value, right? I think we have something like, out of my mind, I think it was like 100 million per year, right? We pay for players. We pay two players. Sorry.
Wages, you mean?
Yeah, wages. And I think Villa play like 115, right? But for us, it's 42% of our revenue, and for them, it's 92 or something like that, right? Which is the most ridiculous thing, right?
That's up to last summer. Since then, we've shaved another 23 million off the wage bill. So we're probably heading around just under 40% now. We're the lowest in the Premier League.
Yes, so that's the point, right? If we raised our percent, like wage revenue, from 40% to 60%, right? We would eclipse what Villa pay for their players, which like Stelios, you showed the wages they pay, right? You would need to go like 20% more, and you would eclipse what they pay, and it would still be like 30% percentage-wise less than of their revenue than what they pay, right?
Michael,
This is the
I was
most stupid
watching.
thing. They don't have to spend everything on the wages.
I was listening to a financial expert talking about football finance, and Spurs came up, and he explained how the current financial structure at Spurs might not have the cash reserves, but they've got the financial ability to increase the ratio of income to wages from 42% up to around about 55% and not be worried to do so.
They choose not
And
to.
he said they could increase the wages and attract a caliber of player that wants to be paid more. However, it's a deliberate choice. There is no reason not to do it other than to keep the finances tight and to keep the books shrewd. But basically, we're being fucking tight. And they're doing it because someone somewhere's benefiting from it. And it's not the fans.
So the last
thing is,
last set of figures, Iggy. So let me just touch on what Stel said. Cash in bank at the last set of figures, which I think was up to June 30th, 2023. So it's nearly 2 years out of date. But the cash in bank at the time was 226 million.
Yeah, but isn't see, this is where a lot of people don't realise this, right? And this is why this whole FFP and 400 million we've got to spend was just a complete fallacy. It was never real. Is because we finance everything and everything is done on loans. As part of those rules, you have to have the money to pay those loans off if you go down the pot, right? It's just like any loan. You have to have collateral, and that can't be other things. It's got to be cash. So I think that those reserves are there for having the ability to pay those player loans.
Lee,
not
FFP.
loans, but the money you want. It's one of the rules anyway.
Lee, it's not FFP. In the contract, so if we buy a player and we agree to pay that player over 5 years, we as part of that contract with that club need to prove there's cash reserves in case. But like you said correctly, we do a lot of deals like this. We owe something like £250 million in transfer fees. We owe that. It's all over 5
amortized transfers. Yeah.
Yeah. So that cash reserve has been ring fenced as part of the covenant in the contracts. It's not actually to do with FFP. It's to do with the contracts when we buy the players. But the issue is, Lee, that cash reserve to one side. Put that to one side. We've got the money coming in to increase the wages. We can do
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, it's not the transfer fees. We know that we can increase the wages because the income that we've got coming in covers the players' wages, right? Whether that cash needs to be ring fenced or not, but it reduces the margins, right? So you're making 400 million a year, your wage bill's 100 million a year. You've got to then, as a businessman, you're saying, well, I've got to cut into my profits. So I either accept that I'm going to make less profit next year because my wages have gone up, or I'm going to have to find other revenues to top up that bit. And when you're paying and when you're looking for investment for hotels and stuff like that, it doesn't look like a good idea because you're running out of ideas to bring money in. Until the things like the you would hope all of the events that go and all of that money gets filtered back into the club, but we're not seeing it. We're not seeing that.
Our fuck up is we misspend the money we get. So, Richarlison is a fuck up. Ndombele was a fuck up. Lo Celso was a fuck up. We could go on and on and on. Then whose idea was it to put Werner on 165 grand a week? Like
Leipzig.
Who at Spurs agreed to honour this deal and bring him in on those wages? Like he's the third highest paid player at Spurs.
But we don't.
Asensio's on 140k a week at Villa. We're paying Werner more. We could have got Asensio. This is what I'm saying. We mismanaged the money. We're awful when it comes to
you're
how we
assuming
spend
now,
money.
Stel, assuming now as well, if you take the criticism of him truthfully, then surely he's on 165k a week and he's behind Kulu, Johnson, Son, Tell,
Right.
potentially Olabear.
Timo Werner
He's
is
behind
only
all
more.
of these guys before he
He's
even
only-
gets on the pitch.
Timo Werner is only more than Tielemans,
I think Werner will
Martinez,
play.
Onana, Watkins, Digne, Bailey, McGinn, right? We would take all of those players at Spurs tomorrow. And Werner, we chose to bring Werner in on more wages. Timo Werner, he's so shit.
But by the way, like I know it's changing the topic, but can we go back to Europa League for a bit? Because like I actually really like the topic because I think it's quite controversial. You know, whether we think we'll go through or not. Because like I think
Michael, I asked the question: how far do you think we'll go? Right. So, how far do you think we will go in the Europa? Then, what do you think?
Listen, I would say that whether we get to a semi is a 50-50. I think when we face either Ajax or Frankfurt, like of course assuming we beat AZ Alkmaar, right? But I assume we will. But I think the match against Ajax and Frankfurt is a 50-50. But then against Lazio, I think they are the heavy favorites in my opinion in that tie, purely based on the fact that the second leg would be on their ground. Actually, I think like player quality wise, assuming that like a big chunk of our team is back, which it should, right? Then I think player quality wise, we are in a similar level than them, right? As them. But I think the way the ties work, it works in their favor, right? But listen, assuming we could somehow get through them, or if it's them, right? Because they can technically drop out earlier, right? But assuming if it's against them, then I really hope that Roma, their city rivals, right, do a job on Bilbao. Because if you asked me about the other teams that are left in the competition, I think Bilbao are the clear favorites in that competition. I think it's them, then long nothing, then it's Lazio, then it's probably like a couple of teams. On
Michael, what
right?
if we get to the final and we play Mourinho?
Gone. Dunzo. We are. But the only thing. Listen, this will sound like a bit mad, right? But when was the last time any Turkish team did well in the European competition? Like
Galatasaray beat Arsenal in the final.
Yeah, 20 years ago, right? 25 years ago.
A long time ago, yeah.
That's the point I'm making, right? I feel like every year, like when you look at those Turkish teams, they have like good players in there, and somehow they just struggle in the knockout phase, right? Look at Galatasaray this season, right? Galatasaray have a way better squad, even with the injuries they have. They have a way better squad than AZ Alkmaar, right? But they just have a Bozogin or something, right? They go to Alkmaar, and one of their players gets sent off in the first half. They lose 4-1, and basically the tie is over, right? And it always happens with the Turkish teams. So
they don't deal with the pressure well.
Basically, Iggy, I'm wagering whether the class of Mourinho outwages the Bozogin of Turkish teams, right? I think it's a scale, and I wonder which way it tips, right? Because I don't think Mourinho reaches the final with Fenerbahce.
Yeah.
Legia Warsaw, no chance they are beating Chelsea. Chelsea are smashing that competition. Sorry, because like one of the comments mentioned the Conference League, right? But
so, Michael, are you saying semi-finals as far as you think we'll go?
Yeah, I think if we go through Lazio, then
we have to have a full squad going into the games. And when I mean a full squad, not just having players back, but they need to have been like hopefully have played a few games to go into the. If we don't have a full squad going into those games, then we don't have a prayer. But if we do, then we give ourselves a chance. That's all I've ever said. So, and I'll stick by it, man.
If you're looking at the season up to now, then you're thinking there's no way that Spurs could possibly win it. But they're such a mad team; they could lose to Alkmaar, and they could win the whole thing. They are a team of extremes, and you're right, Iggy. If we've got a full strength team, there are I honestly think there are going to be some shock results in the next few weeks. I really do. You know, Rangers are going to have this. Right, I mean, I've just been texting with a friend over the weekend, and
Well, they sacked their manager, didn't they?
yeah, that's right. I sent him a text. I said, "How do you feel about playing Jose Ibrox?" He said, "Pointless conversation because we can't even beat Queen's Park." But then Clermont has been sacked.
Yeah.
They've got Barry Ferguson in. You're going to have a new manager bounce, and Jose was probably looking at it thinking, "God, I've got the best draw out of everybody here." But you know, Rangers at Ibrox are going to be, you know, with Ferguson managing them, is going to be a different proposition to how they've been playing recently. You know, Roma v Bilbao. What a cracking draw.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should write off Mourinho. He won Roma their first ever European trophy. This is a guy that's got it in his genes to just find the way. Like I agree with Michael. I don't think they'll get to the final. I think Lazio Bilbao will win it, but I'm not writing off Jose. He's just got it, man. There's something there.
I mean, you know, Olympiacos at home and no mugs. You know.
Yeah. By the way, Olympiacos.
Yeah, they won the Conference League last year.
You should know
They
something.
won the Conference League last year, didn't they?
That's right. You know, they got that. They got Lazio. Everyone's like writing off Olympiacos like they're nothing.
I think Lazio beat Olympiacos.
This, you know, you just
Villa thought the same last year, right?
I think it's a wide open.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Villa. Oh, look, very quickly, Iggy, how far do you think we go? Right, I'm going first. Semi-finals. Iggy?
Semi-final, I agree. We can make the semi-final, but beyond that, it all depends honestly, it all depends what squad we have available leading up to that. If we do, we can make the final if we have a full squad. But otherwise, no, semi-final as well. Michael?
Yeah, I think we'll get to a semi, and the tie against Lazio is. I think they will be the favorites, but listen, mad things happen in European ties, right? One of their players can, go into a tackle in the third minute of the first tie against us at our home, get himself sent off. We slap them 5-0 or something like that, right? And then we go through to a final. And of course, the reverse can happen. Romero can have a bozo moment and, try to kill someone and get sent off, and we lose 5-0 at home, and then it's done, right? So, yeah, I think semi-final. Yeah.
Ian, how far do you think Spurs go?
I think I'm with Iggy. I think with a full strength team, and if they get it right, we're a team of moments, aren't we? And if we have those moments in the European games, they can win it. But by the same token, they can go to Alkmaar and lose by 2 or 3 next week. Who knows? It's a lottery with Tottenham this season. You just haven't got a clue.
Ian, you make me laugh. I agree with Iggy, but I think we could lose to Alkmaar 2-0.
No, listen. If you push me, then I agree with Iggy. But looking at it, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, right? I think we can reach the semi-finals, but I can easily see us getting knocked out today at Alkmaar, right? It's not out of the realms of possibility. Let's be honest.
We beat City 1-0 at home. We went up there. We got a result. We lost to Ajax 1-0 at home. We went to Amsterdam and got a result. There's no reason why Spurs can't go and get a result in Lazio with a full strength team.
That's a different team altogether, Ian. That's a different caliber of team altogether, though, mate. Listen, when it's mattered most, when we needed to turn up this season, we haven't. I could have accepted losing to Liverpool in the semi-final if it wasn't so how bad we turned up and how bad a match it was, because it was actually terrible to watch. We just rolled over and let them tickle our tummies and scratch our balls. But I don't think. I think we should beat Alkmaar, but I think Frankfurt or Ajax, when it's, I think they will want it more. I think that's a tougher game than people are making out. So I'm going to say quarterfinals.
Okay.
Quarterfinals. Lee, back to you. Let's go back round the other way. Last question of the night, and then we'll wrap it up. Man City Spurs. What's your prediction for this one?
Oh, Jesus. I hate doing these because
we don't know if Haaland's going to play, but the rumour is that he will be back for that game. That's the rumour, but we don't know for sure.
Is it? Have we got any pockets left for him to go in? Because I don't know if Danso might have him in his pocket or not. I'm not sure. Listen, I hate predicting these because you never know. I think it could either be Dr. Tottenham can turn up and sort Man City out and we get absolutely battered, or we're forced into exactly the same as last time and we absolutely destroy them on the counter and we can get a result. So who knows? I'm gonna go for a 2-1 City win, but not an easy, not a battering. But I think 2-1 City.
Ian,
2-0 City. Think they'll be too good for us.
2-0 City. Blimey, when this is with their bogey team. What about you, Michael?
2-1 Spurs. I think it will be like quite a high scoring game. I know the score I gave wasn't necessarily like the highest of scores, but I feel like it will kind of look like the match we played against them in the Carabao Cup. So I think they will have more of the ball, which will actually work in our favor, I think, because as much as their wingers are tricky and this and that, they don't necessarily like look. That's assuming Haaland is not playing. If Haaland is playing, the prediction changes, right? But without Haaland, I don't think they have a focal point at the finisher. And of course, I think they will score against.
What about Mamouche?
I think he's good. I just don't think he's like of Haaland's level, right? I think Haaland does what Marmoush does, but is also really dangerous in the air and can actually bully the center backs. Whereas I think Marmoush is that like, low center of gravity, pacey player that, can run in behind. And I just think, assuming we will be pinned back a bit, right? I don't think Marmoush will have much space to operate in. That's how I look at it. And even though City look as if they are like kind of like sorting themselves out offensively, again, not the finishing part without Haaland, but I think defensively they are horrendous still. I think defensively they make a lot of mistakes. Individual performances aren't there. And I think we can hurt them on the counter, which is why I think we can win against them. And we have the juju over them, right? I don't know why, but we have the juju.
So Marcus going 2-1 to Spurs. Is that your prediction?
Iggy?
Michael, you going 2-1? Are you going 2-1?
2-1 Spurs. Yeah.
2-1 Spurs, yeah. Iggy?
Sorry.
For me, like I said earlier, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I agree with Michael. They're all for the back. They have been for a while, and although we've not been that much better, but I do feel like defensively, individually, with Danso, who's given us a bit more solidity, although he made a mistake on Ipswich. Overall, I think having a goalkeeper back, Vicario, has given us definitely something a bit more solid. I do feel like we've countered that by bringing Udogie back at left back, who gives a bit more vulnerable on that side. I do think if we go with Spence at left back and Poro at right back, I think we have a more better defense. But I do think it's going to be a scoring game, goal scoring game. I think there's going to be goals in that game. I think it'll be a 2 or 3-0. I do think they've got goals in them as well as we have as well. But it's those defensive faulties. If we could do one more better than them, then we'll win it. But I just think both defenses will concede. And I see a 2-2, 3-3 kind of game.
Score draw. I'm going to do an Iggy special. If Haaland starts, Man City will win 2-1. If Haaland doesn't play, Spurs will win 2-1.
Well, he's got a knee problem. He missed out Liverpool. He missed out the Champions League. So I don't know if he'll recover in time for this one.
But by the way, what do you guys think about the midfield battle? Because I think the biggest issue, I know I highlighted the defensive frailties, right, of City, but I think those defensive frailties come from the lack of coverage from the midfield. I think their midfield like KDB, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva. I just think they all look shot tired, and I actually think we have a bit of a not advantage quality wise, right? Don't get me wrong, right? But I think we can kind of outrun them in the midfield. Like I think we have the stamina to
Michael, do you know what the thing is? Against Liverpool, I don't think Man City were bad. I actually thought Man City played well.
Right?
I just feel that the final pass, whether it's a drag back, a pull back, a cross, they just got it wrong. I thought they actually played quite well. Liverpool adapted. They sat back and played the transition, and they did it quite well. But I actually thought City did well in that game. And I think if they play like that against us, they're going to get joy because we're not Liverpool. We're not. Yeah. I think they'll get into us. But it's whether we on the transition play as well as we did, like we did against Ipswich on the counter. Because if we do, then we've got them. If not, I can see City beating us. So I think they need Haaland to put the ball in the back of the net for them to make the difference.
You see, City had 66% possession against Liverpool. How much possession do you think they're going to get against us? I mean, we're hardly touch the ball, are we?
No, we're not.
Yeah.
But that sometimes works in our favour.
Yeah, but Ian, same thing happened when we played them at the Etihad and we scored 4 past them, right? So that's the reason why I'm not like. That's the reason why I think we actually have a chance in this game, right? Because even with Haaland, that game they were a bit unlucky not to score, right? It should never be a 4-0 game, that game that we won in December or November, whenever it was, right? But if they are without Haaland, I feel like we can exploit them on the counter like we did last time we played against them. Last 2 times actually we played against them, right? Because like their midfield, like Nico Gonzalez is an upgrade, right? He gives them a lot more spring to their step and a lot more energy and that, right? But I still think their midfield doesn't cover the defense. So whenever you get the ball, when you turn over the ball in the midfield, you just have a wide open field and you go at the 2 center backs that they leave out, right? And you can actually punish
just
them
like
on
us
the counter.
then.
Yeah. But we will not play as open because they will have the ball, right?
If we need to get attacked, we got it right against them when we played them at their ground tactically.
Exactly right.
I hope we've set up in a similar sort of way, and I hope Maddison starts in that game. I think Maddison against Man City has got a bit between his teeth, so I reckon he should definitely be starting. Now that means that Kulusevski, will he start with Maddison in the middle of the park, or would we play more on the right hand side? Because Kulu is another player that tends to have a good games against Man.
I would drop Mateus Tel. I wouldn't start Mateus Tel.
I would be inclined,
And I'll play Johnson there.
Have to find a way to play both Maddison and Kulusevski in that team, keeping a balance in there. If we can do that, I think those 2 guys can prove decisive for us.
And play Johnson more central with Son. Definitely.
Yeah, because they won't have to do the striker job, right? Like striker in terms of, playing with the back towards the goal, spraying the ball around. It will most likely be in transition, right? So you put the pacey guy up there to finish the chances. I don't think Tel performed good enough to warrant a starting spot, right?
That means Son plays up front then. If Tel's not playing up front, then Son.
No, I'll play Johnson there, Reggie.
Yeah, but I would too, Ian, but I don't think Postecoglou will do that, right? I think he will put Son up front, which is, listen, it's not the worst thing if we plan to play on the transition. That's how I look at it, right?
Listen, the guy scored 14 goals this season. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. He's got a knack for being in the right place at the right time when the ball comes in the box. So play him there, for Christ's sake. He's far more dangerous central than he is out on the wing.
Let's see what Ange does. Big thank you to Sanil. Big thank you to Henry Thong. Big thank you to William for all your donations. Also, just a reminder, we will be live on Wednesday evening, around about 10:30. Spurs v Man City, our post-match show. Come and join us. Should be a cracker. Listen, I might be doing a watch-along. I don't know yet. I'll let you know on the day. Depends how I feel. If I feel like this, I won't be. And also, congratulations to the biggest bottlers in world football. Stay humble. West Ham fans absolutely ripping you a new one outside your stadium. That must have been fun. 11 points. They've won the league. Let's have it right. They've won the league. It's over. You've done it again, Arsenal. I told you all season. Where's Stefan? Has anyone seen Stefan? He's been missing since the weekend. If anyone sees Stefan, please let us know. We're worried. We're worried about his well-being. So.
No gooners in the chat tonight. Not one.
No Vindaloo, no Mr. Postman, all this.
No,
Where are they?
no one was there tonight.
But if we lose to Man City, they'll be here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
hope
they're definitely.
they'll be here. Guys, thanks for watching as always. Smash like, subscribe, hit notification bell. We'll be back on Wednesday evening. Look after yourselves.
By the way, still, I think Jimmy Hotspur's a bigger Archie Gray fan than me, judging by the comments.
Thanks,
About him all match, all evening.
Jimmy Hotspur, the whole night has been saying, "Can we have an Archie Gray debate?" And I know what he's doing. It's because you came on. So.
He's obviously a big Archie Gray fan. So big up, Jimmy. Well done.
Big up, Jimmy.
Do you know what? If we ever sell Archie Gray, part of me will be happy because I don't have to talk about him anymore. So I hope he becomes a superstar and goes Real Madrid. All right, we're out of here. Come on, the Spurs.
So.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away.